But potting soil from a nursery does not have what your plant needs. I think people overlook how many ingredients exist that can be a part of your soil, how many natural alternatives there are, and on the hydroponic front, how many different type of products there are that you can actually grow in. Something as simple as moving your plants too often can affect the way they grow. You know, in nature, they don't move from tree to tree. And then once I started collecting house plants, it was all over. Then it was all over. You know, now the house just needs plants everywhere all the time. Last year summer, Karen and I were sitting on collectively almost 1,000 plants. But Scindapsus are very prone to rot after import. So it's better to do them in plain sphagnum just to get them established. And when you see new growth coming on the roots, then they're fine to go into soil. I think I'd like to see more people take a bit more interest in alternative soils. You know.
Goeiemorgen, goeiemiddag, goeienaand. Whether it is morning, afternoon, or evening where you are, it's always a good time to watch some Planty YouTube. My name is Shanae, and today I am sitting down with Chris, who is the owner of Phyta Substrates. He literally opened my eyes to the fascinating world of alternative substrates. So grab a pen and paper, because I'm sure you'll learn a lot today. Without further ado, let's get into it.
All right, Chris. So thanks so much for inviting us to your house and showing us what you have today. Let's start with a couple of questions. Where did your love of plants start?
So I first got into plant cultivation probably about 12 years ago when I started a business with my best friend Ross. We started a vivarium building company, which was sort of targeted for snakes and frogs and the exotics industry. Stayed with him on his plot, his parents' plots back then. He built an 8-meter solar-powered greenhouse that we started collecting all these plants that we could use in these tanks because it was so expensive to go and buy plants every time we wanted to build a tank.
Yeah.
We were like, well, let's do this greenhouse, then we can just grow it all and whatnot. And we discovered places back then like Orchidology and Brom Madness, who are guys that are still in the community today, obviously. Everybody knows them.
Yeah.
And through them, we sort of got involved in all these weird little exotic plants and stuff. And then, that was kind of what started, eh? I've always liked vegetables and farming as well.
Okay.
So I love growing veggies. And after taking a break from the plant world for a while, I got into houseplants eventually, which I never did before. It was always just glass tanks and terrariums and stuff. And then once I started collecting houseplants, it was all over. Then it was all over. Now the house just needs plants everywhere all the time. So I've always been a plant person and like a naturey person and stuff like that. And then with the love of the plants came the love of the soils and everything that goes with that. So,
nice.
Yeah.
So you kind of spoke about that. So what does being part of the plant community mean to you? I know that you've been part of quite a couple of communities.
Yeah. I think my favorite part is the socializing and having common ground with such a broad range of people.
Yeah.
There's just everybody. There's extroverts and there's introverts. There's party animals and there's recluses, and it's so cool. An age group as well. There's just such a big age group in the community, and I just love the interaction with such a broad group of people. I really, really enjoy it. When we first moved into this place, we started hosting a little local plant swap here at our clubhouse. And it was so cool to have these people that you've just never met before.
Yeah.
Just come and we'll all just talk about plants. Like that's what we were there for. Like plant book club. Cool. It was really, really cool. So now the community aspect for me is it really is just about having common ground with strangers for no reason at all other than you're passionate about the plants together.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And it's a really nice community.
It's really nice.
People are generally quite nice.
Yeah, no, it's cool. Yeah. There's always issues with some people.
Of course.
You get that everywhere you go. But as a whole, like the community is just, it's really nice. Yeah. No, I love it.
All right. So I think I've told everybody on this channel, everybody that constantly engage with me, that your pun is my go-to.
Absolutely, yes.
Where did your business start? Can you tell us a little bit more?
Yeah, of course. Okay, so the business or the pun is Knick Knack Node, which is originally owned by Micah Watson. When I moved to Cape Town, I was working with her. And I came on board to help her with the pond, with some PA stuff that she had to have done and whatnot. And sort of over time as things developed, I was managing the pond and the production anyway for her. She approached me and said, she wanted to take a step back from it. Would I like to take over with her, just keeping some sales involvements and things like that? So I said, absolutely,
Yeah.
She didn't have the time or the space for it. And at the time, I had been, brainstorming about Phyta and how I can incorporate what I want to do with the soils and the substrates anyway. So I had a chat with Micah, and we decided we would collectively do a massive pumice import because the local pumice prices were so high. Okay. The idea was to bring the pond price down. That was the starting point. So we did the pumice import together, which was a headache, but I got it. I think every time you do something the first time, it's always like a big stretch.
Yeah.
But we got it. I mean, it all still sits there in my storeroom downstairs. And that was sort of the starting point of being able to get pon a much more realistic price to the market, because it was very expensive before.
True.
And buying small amounts of ingredients is always difficult. So that was kind of the base point of Phyta beginning. And then with that, I sort of incorporated my alternative substrate stuff, which lines up with the work I used to do with the terrariums and the agriculture, all about reintroducing trace minerals in the soils and things like that. So a lot of the substrates that I do all focus on providing your plants things that you might otherwise have overlooked when buying shop substrates, or like even propagation substrates when you're just rooting perlite or just rooting sphagnum. It's still missing trace elements. So the combination of stuff that I try and do, like I'll show you here, for example. This is one of the propagation substrates. So this has got biochar in it, it's got perlite, it's got silica sand, which helps the plant develop very strong cell walls in the early stages of rooting and things like that.
Silica sand. Sand. I mean, we are used to this liquid.
The silica spray, yeah. So
is it the same?
It's not the same as feeding your plant silica.
Yeah.
Like if you're getting your browning on your irrigation and you use your silica sprays, that's to treat that specific thing.
Okay.
This basically just provides fractal amounts in the starting point for the plant where it can absorb some of it. So you can't feed silica sand to your plant as a solution to browning.
Yeah.
Because the sprays are a concentrate, so it does work slightly differently. But having it present in your soils just allows it to be a little bit more available for the plant should they require.
Interesting. Okay, so that's a propagation.
That's a propagation substrate. So that's for your cuttings, for your anything.
How long should you keep it in there?
Yeah, about maybe 6 weeks, if that.
Okay.
I don't leave plants for much longer than that. Once they've started throwing their roots and curls at the bottom of the cups or whatever you're using, then I try and take them out. It's got slow release osmocote in it as well, just in case it's a heavy feeding plant, and and in case you do forget it for longer, because at least then it's got stuff to grow off in there. So, but these have been working really, really nicely.
All right.
Yeah, there's two types. Here's another one. So this is the exact same combination, except it's got peat fibers and fern fibers instead of the sphagnum.
Okay.
So this is good for. So this would be like really good for like aeroids and larger rooting plants.
Yeah.
And this is nice for pipers and selaginellas and begonias, all the things that are a lot finer, a lot more finicky. I prefer this one, but that's because I'm working with much smaller plants in general.
Yeah.
But for the aeroids, the sphagnum one is the way to go.
Okay.
Yeah, I love them. And so they've become quite popular actually. People buy quite a lot of that. Yeah, which is nice. And I'm glad. Nice to see that they work for people.
Right. I need to try that as well.
Awesome.
What else do you have?
So the peat fibers I mentioned, this is one of the ingredients in there. But what's nice about this, so although they call it peat fiber, it isn't peat like we know from the shops. It's not cocoa peat. It's not a product of palm trees.
Okay.
This is a product of sphagnum bogs, which they harvest around Germany and other places in Europe.
Okay.
So it's a sustainably done thing where they basically reclaim usable aspects of the land where when they do construction and things like that, they bring these up and they use it to repopulate other areas where there could be bogs and stuff growing.
Yeah.
And this is effectively broken down sphagnum, tree fern fibers, wood fibers, things like that. And what it does is it provides a much lighter structural sort of situation for the roots instead of the normal peat where it clumps a lot harder and stuff.
Yeah.
But much the same properties. It holds nutrients well. It holds moisture well. You can soak it in coal mag and it becomes very nutrient retentive, which is nice. So it's basically, I just view it as a premium version of cocoa peat.
Okay. What kind of plants would benefit from that?
Pretty much anything, eh? Anything. Anthurium love it. All aeroids love it. Again, the begonias, the smaller plant species. I've got a ZZ growing in it, which is growing a lot better now that it's been moved over into a substrate, that kind of thing.
Okay.
So I just think it's because it's a larger fibered substrate.
Yeah.
It just ties in nicely with the aeroid world you're trying your best to make loose, airy substrates. Cocoa peat is quite clumpy. It has its place too, but I'm a lot more comfortable with using it.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, this is the pumice. which we spoke about already. This is like the pride and joy of the pond world. I mean, you can do pond mixes without it, but it's just you end up losing such a big part of what pond is.
Yeah.
You know, it's very high in silica, and it's got, I can't remember the trace elements, but it's got a whole bunch of trace minerals in it that it just again provides structure for the plant itself. It's a lot more than just using a bit of perlite, you know.
Yeah.
And it doesn't break down, you know. Perlite, it loses its way after a while. These are hard, you know. It's just, no, I love pumice. It's an amazing product. I use it in a lot of my stuff.
Do you use it separately as well?
Nah, just as an ingredient, you know. Yeah. And then this is the one we all know, the knick-knack node.
Yay, my favorite.
The knick-knack node pun. Yeah, it's pretty close there that I can see. There we go. That is the one. Yeah, so this is a recipe that was originally designed by Micah, because she is the original pond queen. You know, everybody calls her a pond star.
Yeah.
We made a few tweaks collectively as time went on, also on pricing, on ingredients and stuff like that. It makes a very big difference. But she spent a very long time putting this little recipe together, and you can see it works. So all my plants that I have, my few plants that I have in pond are all in the exact same ratio, and they love it. Karen stuffs in the knick-knack node, and you yourself you use it. You love it, you know.
And the pods grow massive.
Yeah, you know what's up? We're going to start trying to grow pings on them, pinguiculars.
Oh, wow.
He had a look at this the first time and said this looks like an amazing carnivorous substrate. So we want to see. I mean, it hasn't been done yet. Obviously not all carnies, but the pings specifically, we're going to see how they do growing on that, because it's got the lava rock in it as well, and they naturally will grow on porous stone.
Yeah.
So we're going to see if we can create a new avenue for ponds to be used for carnies, which is going to be fun.
That's exciting.
Yeah. We just call this the forest floor mix. So this is basically designed to mimic forest floor. That's the idea. So it's got worm castings, it's got the peat fibers, it's got pumice, and then it's got soft shell grain that comes from Belgium. And basically the grain comes with natural yeasts and bacteria and things like that, which works very well with the worm castings, basically just creating a very nutrient-rich, very bioactive soil base. So this is good for terrariums, it's good for all these, what we call them forest floor plants, especially because it's what I'm focusing on with the import side of things. Pipers, begonias, selaginellas, you know, all the really small dainty things. Tuberous orchids are really good in this as well. So it's got a lot of application, and I'm having a really good success using it. So the people that have purchased, they said they're really happy with how it's going. So I mean, it's still early days. We only did the first batch about 3 months ago.
Okay.
But so far the feedback's really positive.
So far, so good.
So yeah, I'm loving it.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it's amazing.
All right.
Yeah. Cool.
All right. That's exciting, Chris. Cool. I love that. I need to try a couple of these, because I think I only go with my pun.
Yeah.
But there are some plants that's a little bit more finicky.
Absolutely.
And then I'm like, okay, what else do I do? Because I really don't want to go back to soil.
No, of
because
course.
it's just not going to work with my way of growing. But some of these are quite interesting. I would like to try it.
Fantastic. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, let you know how it goes.
Thank you.
All right, exciting. So what is the future plans? You mentioned a couple of new products that you're trying out, like the very last one that we looked at. But is there any other future plans that we can be expecting from you and the company?
Yeah, so our biggest challenge at the moment is space, because Arcadia and Phyta are both running out of our house at the moment, which is difficult because both of them have got quite bulky stock related things, more so Phyta. So the next step is definitely going to be to get some warehousing space somewhere. Once we've got that, the direction is definitely going to move towards, well, again, volume. As soon as you can do more volume, the prices can come down and things like that. So I'd love to reach a point where I'm wholesaling as opposed to retailing. Not strictly, but more distribution to other shops than anything. You know, I'd love to get the name Phyta into some of the big nurseries as well, not just local plant shops that are in the community. So that would be the ideal go-to. I've been working on different recipes for very specific plant groups. So, you know, like you said, some plants are more finicky. So in the future, I would like to have a specific Scindapsus mix, a specific Piper mix, a specific Begonia mix. But that's also difficult to achieve because it's you can't necessarily invest too much in all these different products. So I've got things that work as a general overhead for everybody. But I would like to reach the point where I can stock, you know, sort of genus specific substrates. And then on the plant side, lots and lots of importing. I want to try and keep rolling imports going through the growing seasons, a couple countries at a time, not just one place. and try and find like some boutique sellers to do like very specialized things.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to do a USA miniatures imports for the orchids. We're doing one with Ecuagenera's USA branch,
Mm-hmm.
but they're still very limited to kind of the sort of stuff that I'm looking out for. Once I've got the warehouse spacing, I can set up a couple grow tents, get some nice shelving going with the lighting.
Yeah.
Space. Space is really what it ends up coming down to.
But those are exciting things.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
No, I love it. Really, really happy with how well Phyta has done, given how short of a period it's been around for. I mean, Phyta only became official less than a year ago.
Crazy.
We sort of had plans about doing things, but it needed a name.
Yeah.
And Phyta is the Latin suffix after binomial naming. So the idea is that, mosses are bryophyta, trees are whatever they are.
Yeah.
So the idea of Phyta is just that it's going to become a platform for a full coverage of things that you need, but soil oriented. So I'd love to do a lot more range on the soils. I'd love to do a lot more range on the plants.
Yeah.
Like exotic fruit trees would actually be something amazing. You always see those videos on TikTok about these people eating these really weird fruit and like crazy gnarly exotic fruit. I'd love to import some. I don't really know what the laws around them are. But I'd love to. But again, I'd need space for that. So I'd love to get in some really cool fruit trees. Just like weird, wonderful things.
Yeah, exciting. So, Chris, what is your best advice for people in the farm community?
Probably the biggest one, is I think people baby plants too much. I'm the same. When a new import plant comes in, I'm like obsessed with it.
Yeah.
But plants really do their best being left alone. Something as simple as moving your plants too often can affect the way they grow. In nature, they don't move from tree to tree.
Yeah.
Trying to let them settle in a spot, unless there's a really good reason to move it. You should avoid just shuffling all the time.
Yeah.
And not that it's going to hurt your plants. It just does cause a strain on a plant that naturally it wouldn't otherwise go through.
Yeah.
So leave them alone. Also plants need a lot less water than people realize. And I say that being a heavy-handed person, they don't go through nearly as much water as we think they do.
Yeah.
I think the biggest set of advice is just leave them alone. Leave them to grow. They need to just be left to grow.
That's an interesting point. And two things. Do you think that self-watering pots helps with that, so that the plant just gets
I think so. Yeah, I think so. It gives the plant the option to uptake as it chooses, as opposed to being forcibly watered straight into a pot.
Yeah.
I definitely think that's a perk of the self-watering pots.
Cool. Awesome. Last question. Most important question.
Okay.
What is your 2026 prediction? What do you think is going to blow up in 2026 in South Africa specifically?
For the plants?
Plants, accessories, soils, something in the plant community. What do you think we are going to be obsessed with in 2026? Or maybe what do you want us to be obsessed with?
What do I want us to be obsessed with? Well, Monstera, for one. But I can see that's already coming.
Yeah.
Like, I think they're getting more and more affordable for some really, really crazy types. And I've always loved them, and I'm just really glad that they're becoming less of a cost because, 10, 15 grand per plant is also so easy.
Yeah.
But from my personal perspective on the soil thing, I think I'd like to see more people take a bit more interest in alternative soils, and not necessarily through me.
Yeah.
I think people overlook how many ingredients exist that can be a part of your soil, how many natural alternatives there are, and on the hydroponic front, how many different type of products there are that you can actually grow in.
Yeah.
So I think I would like to see an explosion in people using alternative growing methods. That would make me pretty happy.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that kind of comes from, I guess, these kind of conversations. Because a
Yeah.
lot of the times we are just hobbyists.
For
We
sure.
just try and get something, and we learn through all of the groups that we are in. If we have an issue with a plant, we'll ask about it, and those kind of conversations come up. Is there anything in particular that you think that as plant parents we need to know? From a substrate perspective, like
From a
what's the
substrate
ingredients
perspective.
that you think?
There's
a little
actually, yeah.
underrated.
The one thing that everybody absolutely needs to know is that potting soil from a nursery does not have what your plant needs. It doesn't. The nicest, darkest, loamiest soil you can find at a nursery pre-bagged, it does not have what your plant needs.
Yeah.
You know, you can grow a healthy plant very briefly in all these pre-bagged soils. Your plants need they need supplements, they need additions. Whether you're the kind of person who wants to feed with your watering or prep the soil to have everything your plant needs every 2 years or whatever, a shop soil absolutely does not cover it. You really do need to be in some way adding something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have a full coverage. Yeah.
Cool. So thanks so much, Chris. This was a great conversation. I really enjoyed learning all about the soils and what we think we absolutely need. So thanks so much.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
All right. Before we go, I did bring a little bit of gift just to say thank you. You're going to be not the first person on the group. Your wife and our partner is actually going to be on the first, but you're going to be on the second. So I brought you a little bit of gift. Do you want to show everybody what?
Yeah, I'd love to. I'd love to.
It's just a small thing.
So we have got from the plant loving house. We've got some snackies.
Yay.
Snackies. Amazing. And hiding in here we have got a beautiful plant dad mug. I love it.
Yeah.
I don't have a plant mug.
Really?
I don't have a plant mug.
Me neither.
This is amazing. This is perfect. Thank you so
You're
much.
most welcome. So I handmade that myself.
You made it?
Yeah. Not the cup itself, but the design. So I know that you are really into Monsteras. Next year, like you say, it's going to be my year of Monsteras.
Amazing.
So I thought, let me bring you some Monsteras.
I
didn't have in my collection that I could bring to you. So I brought you, just made you something a little small.
That's
I hope
great.
you enjoy it.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Nice.
You're most welcome. All right. Thanks so much, Chris. Let's move on to our next section.
Okay.
All right, Chris, let's start with rapid fire questions. So remember, this is the first thing that comes into your mind.
Okay.
So you don't have to think about it, you don't have to give much explanation if you don't want to.
Okay, cool.
But let's go. What is your favorite genus?
Ooh, ficus.
Interesting.
Yeah, ficus.
Ah,
Specifically the creeping species I like.
fun.
Yeah.
Must have plant accessory.
Must have plant accessory, squirty bottle.
Ah, fun.
Squirty bottle.
Top wishless plant.
Top wishless plant, Anthurium diabloens.
Yay!
Yes.
I got one and I killed it. I'm cutting it out. Most underrated plant genus.
Most underrated plant genus, that's tough. I would probably say Homolaminas, to be honest.
Interesting.
Yeah, because there's a lot, especially now with the Indo imports, there's a lot of these miniature Homolamina species. It's not just the ones that you usually see. It's all these miniature species types, which I'm actually falling for quite quickly.
No, that's true, because I don't really see them
No.
quite often. Like, not a lot of people post about them.
Absolutely. There's a huge range of them here.
Right?
Huge
Internationally,
range.
they're doing quite well.
Definitely.
But in South Africa, I would also agree they're a little bit
Yeah,
underrated.
also definitely
And
underrated.
they're so beautiful.
Oh, they're stunning. No, they're amazing.
Favorite plant at the moment?
Favorite ficus filosa. This is my favorite of all favorites. Of all favorites.
That is so beautiful!
She's magnificent there.
So hairy.
Yeah, no, she's amazing.
How fast does it grow?
This is about a year old. Yeah.
Only?
Yeah. No, they're quite young and she's made lots of babies. I've got a couple more starting with poles as well. Hands down my favorite
So
plants.
beautiful. Easy to propagate?
Easy, quite, yeah. They just need a little bit of, they need quite a lot of humidity for the beginning stages. But once it moves to ambient, they're good to go.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Last one. What's your first houseplant?
My first houseplant was actually a Florida Beauty.
Nice.
So I can't remember the lady's name, but it was when I first just got back into the plant community. She was selling some Monstera cuttings and she had a Florida Beauty top cut. I think I paid 900 Rand for it and then reverted.
You still have it?
I don't. No, that broke my heart, so I got rid of it.
Alright, so that's it for our rapid fire questions. Let's move on to the next game. Alright, Chris, so now we're going to play a game that's called Never Have I Ever.
Okay.
So on the one side, you either say I have or you have not.
Okay, cool.
Let's go. First one. Never have I ever spent more than 5k on one plant. You have. Which one?
It was the Billy that's in the lounge.
Oh.
We bought it as a huge mature plant, so
Yeah.
we paid way more than we needed to, but it was an impulse buy.
Are you known for that?
Oof, that's terrible. Yeah. But Karen and I both do it, so it's like, yeah, I don't know, we're probably bad influence on each other.
Never have I ever lied to my partner about a plant purchase. You have?
I have.
Your current partner?
Yes, but not not with the intention to keep it from her.
Okay.
Rather just apologize once it gets. Yes.
They say it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission.
Yeah, you see. I've got to be careful because it's a fine line.
Yeah.
And usually she's excited to see the plants as well, so that's
Yeah.
fine. But yeah.
Nice.
Not regularly, but I've done it.
Yeah. It helps if you have a partner that is in the plant.
Yeah, exactly.
As well.
And usually I get away with it because I'll buy her a plant too.
Cool.
Look what I got for you, look what I got for me.
Nice. Never have I ever cut a plant without sanitizing the scissors.
Oh,
You have, right?
a lot.
Yeah.
A lot, yeah.
You don't, and it's never died.
No, I think so. The one time I regretted it the most was I chopped up a large form Monstera albo, and it rotted so fast. But I'd used scissors instead of using my normal blades, just because it was so thick, you know. But I usually use those little sterile blades, which most of the time they're pretty clean.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't sterilize
Yeah,
the
me
scissors.
neither.
I don't sterilize the scissors.
Sometimes when I remember, I'll go to the gas stove
Yeah.
and it would sanitize.
Yeah, I mean, like after a while, sure. I mean, I'm not going to go and cut with dirty scissors,
Right.
but yeah, it's not something I really pay attention to too much.
Never have I ever experienced plant burnout.
Oh, as in, it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
Oh, I definitely have.
Yeah.
Definitely have,
That's
yeah.
normal, huh?
Yeah, no, it's normal. I think it was probably last year summer, Karen and I were sitting on collectively almost 1,000 plants. We have sold, this house is so empty compared to what it used to be, yeah. We sold off a huge amount of plants. And it was just because it wasn't just the burnout part, you know, we actually started neglecting them a bit because we couldn't get to the watering so regularly.
Yeah.
And in summertime, if it needs a once a week watering, it gets a bit hectic. So no, we sold a lot. We sold a huge amount of stuff.
Oh, okay. Never have ever been scammed in the plant hobby.
I haven't.
Yeah,
No, I haven't.
lucky you.
Yeah.
You have. What's your favorite one?
Okay, I'll have to start with, I know we did this bit already, but this is my Ficus Phylosa. So this was a wish list plant for me for many years. And Karen found on Viatinas. And she surprised me by getting it for me.
Wow.
So it was super tiny when I got it, and I've just babied this thing for forever. Okay, I don't baby it. I mean, I barely even water the moss pole. It just needs something to climb on, really.
Yeah.
But we take it to all the plant shows to display the moss poles and everything as well. Like, she's perfect, eh? She's just perfect.
What soil do you have it in? What substrate do you have it in?
She is in an aeroid mix, much like what you would use for an anthurium,
Yeah.
but with soil. And I've added sphagnum into, like shredded sphagnum into the mix, because they do like to be on the more wet side of things.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you have it on a moss pole.
Yeah, the D-shaped moss poles, the normal D-shaped moss
They
poles.
like the shingle.
Yes.
Do they put their roots into the moss pole?
Absolutely. Yeah, this is completely
Yeah, I
secure.
can see.
They're amazing.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and then my next favorite would probably be this one. This is a new plant. This is a
Beautiful.
Pothos barbarianus.
A what?
A Pothos
A
barbarianus.
Pothos?
So it's not a Pothos like
Like
we know
the
the Pothos.
yeah.
This is the genus Pothos.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is a mature form. This is as big as they get. They kind of start really small little creepers on trees.
Yeah.
So these are mature plants. I imported them from Indonesia about 2 months ago. So I've got a couple, but this is the one that I chose to keep for myself. It's just a really nice,
It is beautiful.
really nice display. So
And it's not sun stressed?
no,
or...
that's its color. Yeah, that's its color.
okay.
They grow red like this.
Beautiful.
So it was another one that was just sort of on the target wish list for a really long time. And when I
Yeah.
saw them available from some of the
You had to
farmers, I
get
was
it.
like, oh, I think I bought 8. I think I bought 8 of them.
And that one is in the substrate that you
Yes,
mentioned,
this is
right?
in the forest floor substrates. So the idea of this is that this is a plant that will start itself somewhere down low in the tree, in the mulch, in the this and the that, and
Okay.
sometimes not necessarily even be in soil. So it needs to be in something light, something that's just going to provide the beneficial bugs and insects that it needs.
Yeah.
And basically just provide some good root structure. But the majority of what's going to happen for this plant will happen via the moist moss and stuff.
Okay.
No, but a couple of Scindapsus. Everybody that knows me knows that I'm a Scindapsus nut. So I really like these shingling Scindapsus. These also came through on the Borneo import, and also will eventually grow in a similar form like this.
Which one is this one?
This is Scindapsus snake scale,
Uh-huh.
and this is Scindapsus black mamba.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so
Does
that's
it get
stunning.
black or not?
It does go dark black. I think these, because they've just been in the closed room,
Yeah.
as opposed to being in the greenhouse getting actual sun, it darkens with the sun. So,
Oh, okay.
So yeah,
Nice.
no, they're amazing.
And you don't do them in pots, or is that going
Not
to come when the root system?
Yeah, so it will happen once they've rooted into the moss.
Yeah.
But Scindapsus are very prone to rot after import. So it's better to do them in plain sphagnum just to get them established. And when you see new growth coming on the roots, then they're fine to go into soil. But they can rot really fast if they're not ready for soil, and you transfer them. And I've got this over here, which is also a super cool plant. It's like an extremely belate little creeper. This is a type of Rhaphidophora.
Yeah.
It's called Rhaphidophora tinus silva. And same again, it's just part of my shingling obsession.
Yeah.
I got my first one of these. This would have been this year sometime. I can't actually remember where I got it from, but when I saw it in person, I was just like, oh my god. You know, and this in the sun, it glitters. It's like sparkly.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're really, really cool. So this is another one that's just a settling after import. I've got quite a few of these as well. I'm hoping to get some really nice mother stock out of it.
Yeah.
So that I can propagate a lot and get them
Right
to the market at a bit more affordable. Yeah.
So you really like the shingling ones. You like to put it on a moss ball.
Yeah.
What is your best tips to keep the moss ball moist?
Honestly, you need the moss ball drippers are probably the best way to go. Look, it's inconvenient to have to add drippers to every single thing. But if it's a plant that really wants to be growing on the moss, like shingles specifically, it is recommended. When it comes to other plants like some philodendrons, some monsteras and stuff like that, they don't necessarily need wet moss poles. They need the structural aspect of it.
Yeah.
So it helps. It's beneficial for their roots, but they're not using it as a growing surface.
Okay.
It's like the way they secure themselves on it.
Yeah.
So you don't necessarily have to water those every single week.
Yeah.
But once a month maybe. You know, and those moss pole drippers work really nicely.
That makes sense because a lot of the monsteras and philodendrons, they size up even if you just give it a space.
Exactly. They'll
so
size
that
up
makes
anyway.
sense. So they don't really need it, but it's beneficial.
100%.
They just need to grab onto it.
100%, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay, and I'll do two little other ones. I'm also absolutely obsessed with jewel orchids.
Ooh.
So this is Cystorchis stenoglossa. It's native to Borneo, which is a very dark jewel orchid that gets some really nice yellow speckling. This one is doing very well. Also a relatively recent import. That leaf is new, but you can still see the rest of the plant is a little bit soft.
Yeah.
But they're adjusting really nicely. These jewel orchids will travel incredibly. So yeah, that's nice. And this is another one. This is, I think it's a Macodes petola, but this gets really big. These are stunning. They just get a lot bigger than the other jewel orchids.
Those veins look like they are neon glowing.
Oh, how magnificent are they?
It's beautiful, and it's already flowering.
Already flowering. So this one, I mean, this one didn't even blink. Being imported because it didn't have a flower when I got it. So stuck it into substrates and it's flowering and it's doing its thing. So I assume it's happy.
Those two, are they terrarium orchids?
Yeah, so you can.
High humidity?
They do need higher humidity. I mean, they won't love being in ambient. They can be adjusted to it, but it's definitely recommended to be in a greenhouse or in a terrarium environment rather.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
And then last but definitely not the least, this is an Amorphophallus titanum. So this is the biggest tuberous plant on the planet, if I'm not mistaken. So this is an corpse flower. So this thing will flower like once every couple of years, and when they're a big size, they get these leaves will get, the stem will be as thick as that.
Oh wow.
And it'll make like a 1.5 meter flower out of the ground.
Goodness.
Ginormous, ginormous. So
is it good to put in the ground for us, or
I don't know. I'm nervous because it's tuberous. It behaves a lot like an alocasia, and as far as I've read, they can be quite prone to root rot.
Okay.
So this is also a relatively new plant. It's happy, it's fine. It's also in the forest mix because this is super well draining this. But being tuberous and with my history with alocasias, I'm very nervous.
Yeah.
I'm very nervous about putting it into any other substrates and stuff. So I'll see. I'm ready to take it to the greenhouse very soon.
Okay.
It's definitely going to need a bigger pot. And yeah, just get to see it size up and go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
High humidity or not really?
No, not necessarily. Yeah.
Okay.
Also, I mean, on the higher side, I don't think it'll be fine in as a house plant.
Yeah.
But not picky like the jewel orchids and some of the other stuff.
Yeah. Ah, fun.
It's amazing.
So you like a little bit of variety, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I like weird plants. I like the weird plants.
It is beautiful.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for showing us that.
Amazing.
And that is it. Thank you so much to Chris for sharing some of his knowledge that he has. And I thought I knew a lot, but there is just so much to still learn. I hope that you enjoyed watching this week's video. I will see you on Sunday, where we'll talk all things philodendron happening in this plant loving house. Until then, have a lekker rest of your day. Bye bye.